better call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Bill Carbuck,
Here.
Ted Meyer,
Here.
John Schultz.
Here. I was going to introduce Tyler, but I think he knows everybody, so I think we're all right. Tim, you know Tyler.
I know Tyler.
Minutes of the June 2nd meeting were emailed. Any changes or additions to those?
I read them, I thought they looked great. Make a motion to approve.
That's 2 grades. Make it 3. Okay, here's what we got tonight. We got health insurance from Dan or John Kent. I think it's going to be Dan. We'll talk a little bit about our city website, Facebook, former city hall. We got low-end discussion with police and fire. We could probably go to the city website. Melissa, I wonder where she went. But yeah, she got a contact from Dennis Haynes. You know Dennis Haynes? The vapor guy down here at
The computer guy.
Computer guy, vapor guy.
Oh, he does vapor too?
Oh yeah, he does vapor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anyhow, he lives down there. Yeah. He doesn't like our website, says it's a piece of shit, piece of junk.
Strike that.
But yeah, strike that word, excuse me. And he thinks he's going to put his own on.
His own.
Yes, it's a free world. He can put on whatever he wants on.
He's going to put a city of Decatur
Website of his version. I guess you can do that. Right?
Well, he just needs to make clear that it's not the official website of the city of Decatur.
He doesn't think we promote the events enough and things like that. Dennis and I got into it here about a year ago. Threw him out of my office. So him and I don't get along. And so that might be part of it, but I just don't like somebody.
I did make him a happy camper about a week ago.
You didn't? Wasn't he down in your building at one time?
Oh yeah, he ended up owing me a bunch of money, but Schnitz said that Haynes put a bunch of cabinets and a bunch of stuff they cleaned out of his building and put them out there by Schnitz's dumpster, and Schnitz saw what he was going to do, so Schnitz went ahead and locked the dumpster, his dumpster. So Haynes took a sledgehammer and busted everything up that was around that dumpster and left it lay. Schnitz got a hold of Beth and wanted to know if I could do anything about it. I sent the guy that owns the building a letter.
That's
Winkler or Winger?
Winger. Craig Winger.
I sent a letter to him, and I told him that he had to clean it up. If the city came in and cleaned up, it'd be $160 an hour.
Good job.
It was cleaned up within a day. So I'm sure Haynes didn't appreciate what I did there. Yeah, I mean, it worked out well.
Does Winger live up above
I
there?
think he lives upstairs. He's married to an IRS agent.
Well, Schnitz saw him
That's Winger, Craig's wife.
swing the...
That
Little
little short
short
lady?
girl?
She's an IRS agent? I did not know that.
I did not
And,
either. She came to
and
see
then
me
there's
one
her
day.
kids, his kids, and their kids. And
I don't think Craig ever. Yeah, he did have a child.
he had one with, can't say her name. She was a tall, good athlete.
No.
Her parents lived out on the East Monroe Street. I can't remember her name. But, yeah, he still sees that kid. They come to our church, and the kid will come there from time to time.
Well, I think we ought to tell him that he can do that, but he has to put, like Tim said,
He has to put
someplace
a
there.
disclaimer that it
Right,
is
it's
not
not the official website
of the city of
City
Decatur.
Decatur, right. If he wants to promote Decatur, that's
He's
great.
going to do a Facebook page too, so.
Well, I was wondering if he would, like, if there's things he wants promoted, couldn't he let us know, and maybe we could
Not
promote
him.
them? Not him? The things he wants promoted, we probably wouldn't want to promote? Is that what you're saying?
Melissa has been more than
Right.
helpful to anybody that wants to put something on our website. She's been very accommodating. And then Erin Hackett has, you know, we just tell her and she puts it on. Yeah, so it's been working out well. So anyhow, that's Dennis.
Dennis Haynes?
Hain, H-A-I-N. He lives down there in the corner of High Street and Grant.
High Street.
And he lives right there, Grant, and High Street.
Northwest
Lives on
corner.
the
Yeah,
northwest,
business is down here.
northwest corner, yeah. He's in Winger's building, next door.
Oh.
There's Cam. Yeah, it was kind of funny. That's nothing to do with anything, nothing to, Dennis shows up to volunteer to take Charlie's place into the company. I walk into that room. What the hell's he doing? So, he got shot down pretty quick. They got tighter stuff forward. So, okay, I'll tell Melissa to make sure we get a hold of him, tell him that, yeah, he can do it, but he has to have a disclaimer that he's not the official site for the city.
Yeah, 'cause if he does do it, there has to be a clear disclaimer that he's not affiliated with the city and it doesn't, it's not the official website of the city.
You think they're really...
You tell Dan Kent to come in. Dan Kent, he's out in the lobby, I just saw him walk in.
You don't do that.
I really want
Speaking of
council
our-
members to hear what Dan has to say too, so let's kind of wait for that.
Speaking of...
You're going to be up first, Dan, so we'll get ready. All the council members aren't here, so,
Okay,
so,
where do you want me, right here?
yeah. And
Who,
take
who gets the hands up?
all of us, plus those two in the back, plus two more that are coming.
If you don't have enough, Dan, John and I have.
Yeah, we have ours, so
I don't
yeah,
have enough.
that's fine.
John said there were 6.
How you doing, Dan?
Good, sorry I'm tired, I've been...
I saw you-
pulling bags and slinging them, and,
Well, I saw you jogging a little bit ago.
well, I was running to the office, I got dropped off here by Casey Sprugger.
Oh,
Sent and took my dump truck over, because I had to get here, so... And the two in the back?
Do you know, John, when they...
Yeah.
I've been seeing that they have sandbags. I know that's not really a city thing, but we've been promoting it on our Facebook site. I don't...
hey, Les, could you come up here a second, please? When you say, I just went to a meeting at 3 o'clock, and they were talking about what needs to be done for, you know, make sure we're prepared and things like that. And they were talking about sandbagging and Hank had a different viewpoint than most people. Sometimes we get too many volunteers, and they get in the way, and nothing gets done, and they bring kids, and they get in the way. Then they have
My
safety
memories of
issues.
sandbagging goes back to 2003 when my mom...
Yeah. All of us do.
Okay? And the night before the water went into her house, we got in line on 3rd Street, went down to the police station, we got all the sandbagging, we got a youth group to help us, and we had a whole bunch of people. We went down there, and we started throwing bags all around Mom's house. We went around one time, we started around the second time, and everybody stopped. And we said, hey, Meyer boys, it's your mom's house. What are we doing? We don't know. We never done
We
that
don't know how to
before.
do sandbags. And there is a proper way of doing it.
And so we, we had absolutely no idea. The next morning, the water was flooded in our house because we didn't do it right. And the neighbor's house who we sandbagged lost their house. Okay? And I kind of pitched a little fit to Fred the next morning, Schultz. Ish. I said, when people sandbag, what good does it do if they're not given instructions?
Well, yeah.
Are they given instructions that they need to have Visqueen and all that stuff? Then
Yeah,
what?
you lay
Well-
the screen down, then you lay
Yeah.
a roll
You
of-
lace it
then you
through.
lace it through, and that's really what does the protection of the business.
Yeah, I mean, I went to work and I got online how to build how to do sandbagging, And there's all kinds of instructions, and I printed a bunch off, brought them to the city hall, and gave them to Fred Ish, and he passed them around to people. But since then, I've just thought, well, where's John August with all this? Is he?
Yeah. And of all times, John's on vacation this week. He took
So people doing sandbagging aren't getting any instructions.
Well, I think from Hank, at least getting them, he's at least telling them, or if they're, like they went to Monroe, the Monroe firemen were placing them pretty much, or at least
the homeowners weren't placing them.
Just
and,
random will,
And the volunteer firemen in Monroe know about the Visqueen. And
So well, like we were discussing today, we are going to stockpile some back for next year. So if we had hypothetically sandbag water treatment plant, we're going to do it right. It's our public infrastructure. We'll call volunteer firemen or police officers, but we would, and we're just sending a semi to Indianapolis to pick up the blue stripe. Blue stripe
Oh, the
plastic,
Camlon.
100,000 sandbag. That will keep the stock. So for our own infrastructure, we would, yeah. But homeowners,
Homeowners aren't
Is
given
there,
any
is there,
incentive.
well, is there something that you could do a link on our website to
that
how
would
to
be, that would
properly,
be a good idea, and we could probably get,
just so
probably
that
could have,
people
when I
can
go
look it
back,
up?
I probably could have Aaron put that.
Right.
Yeah.
Give them a
That's
sheet,
a good idea.
give them a sheet
Do
explaining
a
maybe.
link to where they can learn how to do it
That-
properly.
Yeah, we could do that, we could get Aaron to put that.
Hello? Is this Chrome? Is this Chrome?
Good idea.
Sandy, this is John Schultz. Is Bill around?
You know, we probably
Thanks.
wasted
Right.
50% of, well, 40% of the sand.
Chrome?
Place in
This is John here.
Placed in, it's something to do to.
This is John. Hey,
Right.
did you forget about our council meeting? Oh, you are? Okay. So you're saying going fishing in Canada is more important than our city council meeting? Is that what you're telling me?
Oh, Chrome.
That's fine.
Matt, you know
I
what
appreciate it. I just didn't want
Cam?
to discuss anything
You
until
was
I
last
got
night.
here, so that's fine. We'll proceed then. No problem. Have a good time. See you later. Bye-bye.
Let me call Cam.
Yeah, please.
I'm here.
I heard.
I can't make any
John,
decisions.
I heard that there was an accident on People Road.
I hear you.
People Road to get in, so you may be stuck in traffic.
Yeah, could be. Well, I'm glad we're going to have Tyler sworn in here tonight.
Yeah, because
We need a quorum.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dan, I got you up here, and now I was really waiting for Bill Cronin and Cam to get here before we talked about the health insurance.
That's going to be sworn in first thing at the council meeting.
A lot easier standing here.
Okay.
You want some water?
What's he gonna want?
So,
Yeah, he told me he's going to. In fact, I was going to call him and tell him to just get some Bisquick while he was out there.
yeah.
So you can't do it.
Yeah, he's gonna get 100 just in case.
Quorum to start the-
Becky said, there's Cam, I think, just came in.
Okay.
I think he just walked in. Yeah, he did. He's here. He said he's gonna get 100, so Becky's sending John and Ike and Colin Mills to help him carry the bag. I said, that's good.
Yeah.
So you was helping them sandbag, or?
Hauling them everywhere and unloading them. And
Oh. Matt, did you get them done? No. By yourself?
sorry,
That's
a
okay.
lot of claims. A lot of
Spent
claims.
too much money lately, Phyllis. What's going on here?
Yeah, the items we gotta talk about, really, I want those guys involved too, to, they know what's going on. Tim, you got anything to talk about? Good.
When we, refresh my
What's the
memory,
date? What's the date and time?
Well,
when,
I can make something.
I know you can.
You seen him in action, Dan?
refresh my memory, when NDOT raises 224 out here, okay? It's gonna be raised, and there'll be a thing so water can go underneath or whatever. But will anything at all be done to erosion?
Just from the highway back, probably
So-
100 foot.
Okay, but back where it floods, that'll still flood. But people would be able to get in because they could cut in through the high school.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, Monroe Street is still going to flood out.
But it'll drain quicker. 224 is holding it up now, but it should drain.
We're hoping. They said there was
NDOT
no,
says it won't
they
create
had
a problem,
no,
it'll improve it.
no impact upon flooding.
And they got those engineers from Purdue had lined this all up, so.
Really, I think the firm that's doing this is really from Ohio.
Oh, okay.
They had the Purdue guys in there.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dan, sit down.
I'm good. I've been sitting and up and down and
Wasn't that how everybody feels?
Yeah,
Meeting or
sure
something?
did. First cup?
Should have an initiation.
Because I personality here.
Just give him all the claims and say,
Yeah.
they're all yours.
Look through these.
Can't go through these and they're all yours.
It used to cost Phyllis a lot of candy to get Charlie to look at them. He'd always give him candy.
He carried the claims for me too.
Mm-hmm. And you'd always make that motion.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was funny because at the last meeting, when we got to that point, everybody kind of looked around. Who's going to make
Usually
that
we're more
motion?
organized.
Yeah.
I can't believe Crone didn't call and tell me he wasn't coming.
Yeah, he's usually good about that.
Well, unlike me, you can't fire him. You can fire me.
You're right.
Me too.
Him too.
Yeah. Tim and I are
In fact,
vulnerable.
I've been down that path.
Yeah,
times.
Year's not over.
no peeking cameras.
No peeking.
Yeah, I got to get ahead of the game here.
Yeah, you might as well read on it.
I think it's good. I think it's good news really for us.
That's great. I think it's great. In these times, holy smokes. Individuals out on their own the last 2 years have increased at least 50%.
HRA stands for,
Health reimbursement arrangement.
okay. I guess we call them HSAs if right.
Well, that's something
That's
something
that's
different.
a health savings account.
Right. This is a
Health
reimbursement
reimbursement.
arrangement.
arrangement.
That right, Dan?
Yeah, the reimbursement is that deductible, or part of that deductible needs to be made before the city throws in the money. So at HSA, you're putting in money whether you're going to use it or not. And then if the person does not use it, there's a key into their HSA account. That's always their
Money.
account, their money. So
Their
if they
money.
would
They leave
they do it
employment,
with them.
they get to take that money with them. I don't know what the rules are and how they can spend that.
Medical expenses.
Yeah. I don't know who tracks that for them, but,
I've never heard of anybody getting audited.
yeah.
I heard of one getting audited once, one group, and that was because the employer requested the audit because he knew his employees were buying beer at CVS.
Really?
Yeah. And that wasn't anywhere around here.
What a grouch.
Yeah.
Is he from Burn?
What's that?
Is he from Burn?
No, that wasn't around.
Speaking of burn, have you heard how Bill's doing?
Mayor McKean is doing better. Not, I won't say very well, but he's doing better. They put a defibrillator and a pacemaker in, and he was going to come home. He may come home today.
Yeah.
Really?
They was hoping he
I've
would have
been
came
communicating
home
with
Monday.
Joy, Lehman, Manson, Haiti. And they're just thrilled with how good he's
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
They're so
I
concerned they'd have brain damage.
I had a couple emails with Greg Sprunger down there, and then lately I've just been calling his office. Becky, the assistant, just kind of updates me, so. He's doing better.
Yeah.
It's kind of a
There's a
miracle.
story about a kid that happened to show up with a haircut.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that something?
Yeah. You gotta believe he was supposed to be there.
Yep. And hopefully it'll help him have a little purpose in life, too.
Yeah. Okay, health insurance. We'll just get into it real quick here. I had a summary sheet, Dan, of my own. I don't know what you passed out here.
Now you can't find it.
No, I got it right here. Does that look official?
That's really kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Currently, we pay roughly $928,000. And this is on the second page there of Dan. $928,000 is what we paid this past year. Okay, the renewal proposal is $975,000, which is an increase of $46,000. I'm $6 off from your figure and my figure, but that's okay.
And the renewal, like the current rate and the renewal rate runs what, January 1?
August 1st.
August 1st.
August 1st through July 31st. Tyler, you gotta sit right up here, please. We'll get you a new name tag here. We gotta get that ordered. So yeah, let these guys sit
take
down
this.
here. Yeah.
You got one? Okay. Can. Sorry, I think I inked you there.
Now I don't have anything to look at.
Yeah, you do.
You
I
got
printed
it.
it.
Good. We really went to page 2. We've been, the annual premium for medical coverage is $928,000 for all of our employees and their dependents.
Page 2.
Okay. The renewal is $975,000, which shows an increase of $46,428. Really, I think I'm just going to turn over to Dan. Dan will probably explain it a heck of a lot better than I do, so.
That's a 5% increase, which isn't all that bad. Actually, the actuaries wanted a lot more, PHP wanted a lot more, John negotiated it down to 5%.
Not me, John Kent.
John Kent.
Yes.
He does most of the work on this, and so he got it down to 5%, which is a $46,000 increase. Also includes a refund agreement, which the refund agreement is 35% refund agreement with the potential of 20% of the premium back to the city. That's pretty huge. And that is a way that if you have a good claims year, you can get some of those earnings back. The bonus of that is if you have a very bad claims year, they can't have a call. So there's no risk to that premium refund agreement.
I will say, we got to the end of April, I believe it was, we had $9,000 coming back, and then here in May and June, we had some high claims, which kind of ate up our refund. So we really are not going to get anything back this year. But it's like Dan said, we can't lose. All we can do is win with it.
Right.
So,
And it's nice of them to give us that opportunity. There's a couple things we can do to get that $46,000 down, and there's a couple different options, and the number one option is increase the individual deductible from $250 to $500. So what that is the city would decrease their HRA contribution for the employees that would hit that part of the deductible, those expenses. The city puts in money for that deductible. And based on the 2014 usage, that would save about $8,250. Now that is a questionable number. It could be more than that, it could be lower, because we don't know how people are going to do with their health costs. So the city would pay $500 per person and $1,000 family towards the deductible and the maximum out of pocket, instead of the current $750 and $1,500. Okay?
everybody understand that?
Everybody understand
So,
that?
right now we have what we call a $250 deductible, but the insurance really is a $1,000 deductible. The
Right.
insurance company has $1,000. Then the city makes up that difference between $250 and $1,000.
Right.
City reimburses the claimant, whoever that be, the employee or their dependent.
Right, right. And that
So
is,
what we're proposing is to change that from $250 out of your pocket to $500. The deductible now becomes $500 instead of $250. Just so everybody understands.
Through the insurance company, not the part that we cover.
Well, no, that's part of that we cover. It's really,
Okay.
the insurance company still remains at $1,000.
the insurance still stays at $1,000.
Okay.
You're just decreasing, paying $750 after the first $250 that's incurred, to making the employee, or having the employee, pay the first $500.
Instead of
And then the
$250.
city would reimburse the next $500. And to be honest with you, a $250 deductible or a $500 deductible's pretty well unheard of anywhere. So it's still a very rich benefit by raising that up to $500. in that 8250, we don't know if it's going to be more or less than that. Depends how many people have claims over that first $500.
I think what John and Dan did here was the 8250 was reflective of what happened this past 12 months.
Right.
So that's where we got that. And it will be different. There's no way it's going to be exactly the same.
So yes, it saves the city, the A250 is coming from the employee.
That's right.
Right.
Is it really, I feel like my experience has been the reimbursement comes, does the reimbursement not come until I pay $250?
You pay the first $250 and then, the HRA kicks in and pays the balance.
So there's a lot of employees that don't get anything from the HSA because their expenses are under that 250 now, or dependents, I should say. So
Okay.
250 is a question mark. The other thing we can do to decrease that is increase the co-insurance maximum. Right now, the employee has a $2,500 maximum out of pocket per family, or per person, $5,000 per family. That $2,500 out of pocket includes the HRA, what the city puts into their HRA, and the $5,000 does also. So if we increase that $500 to $3,000 per person, $6,000 per family, that would save another $14,664. That's a guaranteed number. That's not going to go up or down. That is a fixed number. So with those two changes, it would be an increase of 2.5%, or $23,514.
So instead of $46,000 increase, the increase to the city is going to be $23,514.
And the next thing is the dental. We have to move the dental. We got a lot better deal with Delta Dental, and that is on the third page. But there is very little change to what the current coverage is. And Delta Dental's representative for a few of our dentists here in town are in Delta Dental's network. So,
I think it's on page 4, really, isn't it?
yeah, the
Decatur
back
Dental?
page 4. Decatur Dental is. What the dental would be is zero deductible. Currently now it's with Companion Life where they have a $100 lifetime deductible. So current employees already have that made, but a new hire, that helps them out, there's no deductible. Preventive care is covered at 100% right away. Type 2, the basic services, no waiting period, 80%. Basic is like fillings, things like that. Major services, which would be root canals, crowns, things like that, no waiting period, they pay 50% of that bill. And orthodontia is 50% up to a lifetime maximum of $1,000. So if you compare that over to Companion Life, it lines up pretty well, except
It's almost
for
the
$100
same.
deductible. There's no waiting period on Type 3, where that would affect a new hire. And what that does is the monthly premium goes from $5,800 down to $4,168. So that is a guaranteed savings there also.
Well, and currently we have PHP as our dental, but PHP is no longer in the dental
Right,
business.
correct.
PHP does not
First.
is not going to have coverage on dental anymore, so we didn't have any choice but really to ask
Right.
Dan and John to go look at a different company.
Right.
John, when you say most of the
Dan.
Decatur dentists are in the network, I mean, your Decatur Dental, one over here.
Yeah, the reason being is Fleetwood went to Delta Dental a few years ago, and that kind of forced a lot of the dentists to join that network. They're not in many networks, but they are in Delta Dental, so
You and local dentists that aren't?
I'm not aware. I'm not aware of yes or no on that. So with the dental change and those two changes with the HRA and the co-insurance, raising that maximum, we get that down to a 1% increase, which would be $9,609 per year. For the year. It's pretty hard to keep that at 1%. Those are relatively small changes. I say small changes because I do mostly of the individual market. And the last 2 years, people's deductibles are going from $3,000 to $6,500. So, you know, a small jump in deductible and out of pocket, that's very minimal in today's standards. I mean, any of the other large employers around here, Fleetwood, they're 3,500 individual deductible, no HRA. It's just, this is a very, very good plan for the employees. Now, granted, they may not think so whenever you raise it, but you got to do what you got to do. And going back to the first page that we kind of skipped over, right now, your group is 50 to 99, and you are grandmothered under the Affordable Care Act. So you can renew your plan this year and make changes. And by changes, it wouldn't be the HRA. That's an agreement between you and the employees. But changes on that out-of-pocket maximum and deductibles and anything like that, we can do that this year. Next year, we cannot. We cannot keep the same plan and do that. If we make any changes next year, it's no longer grandmothered, and then you go to a community rate. A community rate, you can see on the bar graph, is a heck of a lot higher. So this year we're good. We can make changes. Next year, if we want to keep the grandmother plan, we can. We just can't make changes. And in the following year, we definitely got to do something.
So you're giving us a warning.
It's coming. It's coming. And
We might be all right this year and one more year.
Right.
And then,
Right, it's going to hit the fan, and we honestly thought it would be this year, last year, but they keep delaying things.
Is that awesome?
Which is to our benefit, to our benefit. Any questions on any of that?
We haven't budgeted yet until we pick exactly what we're
I think that's why Phyllis
Yeah.
wanted to look at this real quick before we did the budget.
So if we do nothing, no changes, we're up 5%.
That's right.
Right.
Make recommended changes,
Plans
we're
stay the same other than the dental is with dental, whatever.
Delta.
Delta Dental.
Delta.
And the last time, weren't we a 7 or 8%
Yeah.
increase?
I think they've got a history of that here.
We got a history back in here. John didn't want to put that in there, and I said, well, since you're not here, you're going to be here. Put it in there, and I'll brag for you, because he's done one heck of a job. He really has throughout these years. Keeping us in line.
Last year at this time, they negotiated us a rate of 5% again last year, so,
And the premium refund agreement.
right, that was added in.
Which we were hoping would pay off, but it didn't this year, so.
Any questions? That's what we're recommending. That way Phyllis can go ahead, proceed, and get the budgets in line, and
Well, we'll need to, whatever we decide to, and since they're going to come back, have meetings with employees, go over any changes, so.
so the deduction from an employee's check remains the same, or will it adjust a little bit?
That's still up to you guys. We can keep that the same. We never discussed changing that.
Rick, if I understand this correctly, the savings with the dental, the $14,000, and that's done.
Automatic.
Make a decision about that.
Correct.
So all we need to make a decision about then is the options, the options 1 and 2.
Right, right. Deductible change and the out-of-pocket change. I think we have to have a couple employees here. Any comments from what you've heard?
George scratches his head.
On the out-of-pocket deductible, when the city picks up the difference, does the employee still pay if they get reimbursed? Is that how that works?
Yes,
You do pay and then you get reimbursed. Yeah, that's how it
You
works.
reimbursed until you hit 500.
Yeah,
Over the 500.
right, that's right.
500 to 1,000, you would get that.
Mhm.
Instead of 250 to 1,000.
Yeah. You pay it, then you get reimbursed. That's right.
So anytime you have a claim now, if
I-
this is
I've used-
approved,
I don't
it'll just
think
cost you
Brendan-
additional
I don't think Brendan had
$250
it
out of
this year.
pocket
I don't think we got it enough.
I don't,
I don't
if
think
you have a claim.
The year's not over yet. She's pregnant. That didn't happen.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions really? We want Dan or John to kind of explain it, so you're not getting it from Phyllis and I.
This year, you're anticipating a 5% increase.
If we-
Next year, what kind of percent are we?
Don't know.
Depends on claims history.
They won't know until late May of 2016.
Basically, a year and 2 years from now, we're gonna have to really cut or increase the funding.
Or
or
change your plan or self-insure. There's going to be some options out there that you're going to have to look at. That's correct.
Yeah,
But-
it's,
But can you change that next year, Dan?
you can do anything next year.
Next year yet?
Yeah,
But then,
if you want to change plans, you can change plans next year. It's just, you then have a community rating, which is going to be higher.
okay.
If any changes are made to your current plan, it should be this year because next year we can't if we wanted to. 2017, when community rating is across the board,
They're going to have a choice.
we're going to have to look at self-funding probably. I mean, as an option, definitely. It's just because the rates are going to be a heck of a lot higher.
Dan, is that community pricing, is that across the industry? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's across the board.
Yeah. Everybody's going to have to go to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing I did want to mention, Phyllis and I did meet with Indiana Association of Cities and Towns. They have that medical trust. We've looked at that a couple times in the past. We did look at it again, and comparing what we have now to what they were proposing, same thing, no changes. It was a 9.6% increase. So we did have something else to compare to.
But it's still not a better deal for us.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been saying that for a while.
Yeah, so it was over 9% increase versus if we stayed with PHP and they made no change, it was going to be a 5. So to me, it was a no-brain decision to make for us. So, yeah, I guess that's what we're asking is I don't know, Tim, do we do anything on this
When do you have to make a decision?
tonight? Well, they'd like to, so they can get all the paperwork on for the renewal. And what Phyllis mentioned, that they'd like to have a meeting with the employees, between now and the middle of July at the latest.
And if we are doing employee meetings, we'd like the opportunity to offer voluntary life and disability. Life insurance would be guaranteed for the employee up to $100,000 and $25,000 per spouse.
And they did give a
Yeah,
chart here for
and
you.
there's rates in there, and it's pretty inexpensive. A 40-year-old could get $100,000 for $17 a month, guaranteed. If this was offered, years ago, several employees had sick spouses or were sick themselves, this would have been a heck of a deal for them.
So this is automatic coverage, there's no, up to 100,000,
To
right?
100, yeah.
So
Over
if I get
100,
sick here in another month, I'm not going to be here.
The only question is, are you in the hospital? You could have been last night, but if you're not today, you could get a $100,000 guaranteed issue. That would be no cost to the city. It would be deducted out of the employee's check. You're not making them, but if we're doing meetings, offer it to them.
Yeah. Same with disability, Dan, or?
Yeah, same with the disability. There is participation rate. What that is, I'm not familiar with. John's really the group guy, but he's coaching James Chip game tonight. Excuse me? I believe this is probably Companion Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
This is what we have our current.
Current dental one.
I have current life insurance.
Okay.
So, that's where we're at. So Tim, is that a council decision to proceed?
Really, it probably should be
Board of Works?
Board of Works, but council should probably approve it as well. 'Cause
Look,
it's an
both.
expenditure.
When you use the term self-funding,
Mm-hmm.
like What would be the first thing we would self-fund, like a dental or something?
The health bar.
And looking at the dental,
The dental rates probably won't fluctuate a whole lot.
okay, like that $44,168 monthly, that's what the city currently pays for all, that's the combined monthly premium, right?
For the dental?
Yeah.
Correct.
When you get into
No, it's not.
self-funding, Dan, you
I
just,
think now we're
Correct,
paying,
that's what it will be.
yeah, that's what we'll be, yeah, so 5,800 is what we're currently paying.
Big savings.
Yeah, yeah, $1,700 a month savings.
self-funding basically is, the
Have a
city
very high deductible.
takes care of small claims, and then you go out and find an insurance company that would take care of catastrophes. Is that
Correct.
basically?
You would pick your amounts of how much you wanted to insure per dependent or
Yeah.
employee, and then you buy insurance for on top of that. If you have a couple sick employees, they carve them out and you buy insurance for them separate, more expensive. So it's traditionally under 100. It was never a good idea, but with this community rating coming, we got to look at it because.
See.
And anything that we go to a self-funding thing, do we have to then have an administrator or something?
Yeah, and John knows more about that than I do as far as.
Yeah. And those questions will be, they'll be asked next year at this time. We'll be having those tough questions to address.
I will, this is a plug for this voluntary, I think you absolutely need to do that. It doesn't cost us,
No.
A dime.
it's all,
It does cost us a little time for Phyllis's office to process the deductions and make the payment. That's basically all. That's all we got. Doesn't cost us
And it's,
to get the coverage or anything.
it's just another thing that ties your employee to your group too. If they're thinking about moving and they have 100,000 and they're not insurable anywhere else, they might think, well, I really need to stay there because I got 100,000 of life insurance and I can't get anywhere else.
And it's amazing how many people don't have any insurance. Yeah.
It's amazing.
So anyhow, we'll I guess I'll ask for approval here today to renew with PHB.
I'll make
With the
that
changes?
motion.
With
With the changes.
changes.
You want to go with the changes or just
Yeah,
take the
with the
5%?
changes.
all of the changes?
Where are they? Here. Don't like them? It's fine with me,
I
whatever
think-
you want to do.
I think out of pocket from 2,500 to 3,000, I don't think that's a big deal, okay? I think that's fine. I'm not positive about the HRA thing.
The gone from 250 to 500?
Yeah, the deductible. I mean, I think that's I don't know, it's an awfully good perk to our insurance, I think.
I think we got two more years to make it great insurance for our employees. Then it changes.
Well, but you're saying if you don't do that now, you can't do it next year, right?
Stay with the same plan.
Save the same.
Yeah, the same plan.
Where we pick now, we're basically picking for the next 2 years.
Right. Now, the HRA, to be honest with you, I'm not sure if you can change that, because that's a different agreement.
Because that's not,
That's not an insurance agreement, that's really an
I
agreement.
wish John was here now, because that's the only question I really don't know, but,
If you want to leave it in there, that's, it's 8,250 estimated, we don't know the exact amount.
but the current employee max amount of cost is 2,500, actually it's only 2, because 500.
5 back.
500, that's coming back, right?
Yeah, and right now it's 750 that's
Coming back, so, yeah.
But, no, I think that, because the out-of-pocket expenses, there's two lines on that. Right? There's the deductible and there's,
The deductibles, the current maximum out of pocket is the deductible and co-insurance. So that's the maximum, currently the maximum employee would pay out is $2,500. minus the $750 HRA that the city's throwing, which is very, very good. I mean, very.
If we do go
I know
into
it
this,
is.
it's potentially being $1,000 extra liability to the individual, right? If we did one vote.
Right,
Mhm.
that's
Go
Mhm.
with one or the
Potentially.
other.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Correct.
Mhm.
Different.
Right.
I guess I would be more in line of including option 2, but maybe not including option 1. That increases our overall cost by,
That'll be 8,200 and 9,600, $17,800.
Yeah, and the 8,200, we don't know. That
Yeah,
could be less,
that's what,
it could be a
we're basing that
more.
upon this year's usage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what you're saying is that you're suggesting going with increasing the
Out of
insurance
pocket.
maximum.
Right.
Keeping the
And
HRA.
then that would result in a savings of $14,664, and we're gonna have a savings of $13,905 because of the change in dental. So the combination of those two is a little over about $28,500. So that's going to mean that the actual cash increase of the premium wouldn't be the $46,428, it would be that minus the $28,500.
So,
Well, the increase would be $17,859.
which is under 2.5%.
If you only go with the second proposed modification.
That's right.
That's the same thing.
Is that,
Right.
is that what you guys are leaning towards? That's fine with me.
basically,
It was
it's
just my
about
personal opinion.
about a 2% increase though.
Right.
Okay.
Not a solid 2, but.
Okay, that, Bill?
Sure.
I'm good.
We're gonna approve this.
Yeah.
I'd like to approve it here at the Board of Works and then
Yeah.
also at the council.
That's okay.
It's okay?
Change your motion. Change the motion?
Motion, you're making the motion to approve the proposal only with option 2.
2, right.
Co-insurance.
And the change in the dental.
Dental.
The change in the dental.
And leave the
Okay.
HRA the same.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
So I guess you get the paperwork on, want to get it going.
Again, sorry I'm not dressed up. It's a big deal.
Well,
What kind of offense?
well, don't come again without me having a time.
You look more comfortable than we do.
Oh,
Could you just ask that question though, or have John look into that, like, do we have the ability to change the HR arrangement next year?
Next year.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct,
Okay.
yeah.
Just let Phyllis know.
I could, okay.
And Phyllis
I try to call
can,
him.
Phyllis can email
No, we
everybody.
don't need to
let
know
them
now.
You don't need to know now? Okay.
Give Phyllis your email address. In fact,
All right, thank
do
you,
we have-
everyone.
We have one.
Thanks,
for
Dan.
Dan. We have a tfullingham@decaturin.org.
we'll have to set one up.
Yeah, we'll have to set one up for you, Tyler. We'll have one for you.
They've done a good job for us, haven't they?
Okay, yeah, they've done very well for us, the years I've been involved with them.
Yep.
Quick, Tim, I'm gonna ask you about Old City Hall. Yeah, I know you sent me an email, and I think I understand what you're trying to tell me. If you can just tell everybody what our next
The
steps
statute.
are. Our 60 days is up. Now we are a little bit more flexible. We have to have a public hearing to do that.
If you're going to list the property now with a will, to sell it instead of go through the bidding process or have an auction, then you have to declare that you deem it an appropriate measure to list the property. You have to have a public hearing on that decision, and then you confirm it. You list it, and then the listing agent can market the property. You're still bound by the average of the two appraisals, and if you're going to sell it for less than 90% of the average of the two through a broker, then you do have the ability to accept an offer for lesser than that amount, but you first have to have another public hearing
So
on the proposed
if we're going to take
price.
a offer that's less than 90% of the appraised value, then we have to have a second public hearing.
Correct.
In order to, do you make that a public record that you have an offer?
Yes, you have to
that is
disclose in the-
50% of the appraised value?
Yeah, you have to disclose in the notice of the public hearing that an offer's
Does
been
that-
received,
does
it's
that
this
kind of-
amount, it's less than.
Does that open up then the process, somebody else can come in and give you a quote that's say, higher than the 50% number that you received?
Well, it's, the problem is you have to have a public hearing before you can actually accept the offer. So if somebody comes in along the way and makes you a better offer, you can reject it.
Okay, so then have the public hearing. Is there a notice time frame? We have to have like a 10-day notice?
10-day
or-
notice, yeah.
10-day,
10 days before the public hearing.
it's
The
a
notice has to
calendar
be
day?
published.
So it's a 10-day.
Just one time, Tim?
I'm pretty sure it's just one time.
10-day notice, one time.
Now, I'll have to look at 531 to make sure, but I believe it's just one time, at least 10 days.
We need to turn our mics up.
Oh, can't you hear us?
Does that make it?
That better?
Ooh.
Mine
When you're talking, Jen, lean forward.
all the way down.
I'm sorry.
They're just saying they can't hear.
Is that better?
Oh, wow. There you go. Oh, that's pretty loud.
You can hear us now.
That's good. Thanks, guys. So, I guess, what does everybody want to do? Do we want to schedule a public hearing and get the ball rolling on this? That's what I want to do.
I casually mentioned to Josh Kruger, the next process, and he said, well, somebody will buy it, it's just too high.
Yeah.
So how do we get the price?
That's evident.
Do we need to wait on Kevin?
Yeah, because...
Well, yeah, there's an issue with our stellar application with the housing
But maybe
part,
not.
but maybe, yeah, we don't know for sure.
I actually had a conversation with
Good.
TJ.
Good.
How'd that go?
Very well, we talked.
Okay.
But
So anyhow, it may be included in our stellar, the housing portion of the stellar could be current city hall, so we got to kind of wait
So
to
should we
see how
just
that...
wait another,
Do you want to wait till the next meeting, Tim?
That's what I would
Give us enough
suggest.
time?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's just sitting there, it ain't hurt anything.
For your benefit, Tyler, we had the city hall, and by statute, we have to give 60 days for people to come forward. We have to give a notice that, hey, we want to sell it. And then somebody has 60 days to come forward. That 60 days has expired now, so now we're going to go to the next step.
We had to have 2 appraisals.
And we could sell it for the average of the, 90% of the average of the 2. Well, nobody's offered that, so now it's the next step to, they might buy it for lower.
Okay, hey, we're finally, made these guys sit around here all for this last hour, we're finally to Lowit. So maybe you guys want to move up here to the front table if you could, please. City Hall. Okay, why are these guys here tonight is we're trying to get our budgets ready for 2016, and we have the police and fire. When did they pass the Lowit?
January 1.
January 1st, Adams County established an increase to the Lowit tax, the countywide Lowit tax. Now, that provision allows, or really says that 25% of that has to be spent on public safety. Is that, saying that right? Yep. So, public safety in our eyes is police and fire.
only 25%?
25, isn't it? Is it 25?
1/4% of the half of the increase, basically.
Half of it, yeah.
It was increased to 0.5%. 1/4% went towards public safety, 1/4% went towards property tax relief. So, whatever,
So whatever we capture has to go towards public safety.
Half of it. Is that right, Tim?
0.25%.
Half of the,
Okay.
half of the 0.5%.
It gets confusing, don't feel, I'm just as uninformed as you guys are.
it's 1/4%.
Quarter of a
Of
percent.
the,
So you're gonna have a proposal of how you want to spend it.
Well, and it's not just like, there's some things that are automatically going to come out of that. We just built a new police station. The payment on that portion would come out of that fund. And Phyllis, how much of the, could you give us a recap of what the total payment is and what the percent of the
Well,
police is? Umball
I
gave,
called Umball and they gave me what was the estimated cost when we first did the bond. So there's they're saying that the police station would be 35% of that bond, and City Hall was 65%. So we could use it.
So what we did-
They broke down the payments for me, how much was City Hall and how much will be.
And what we did, we have one bond, which covered the cost of remodeling this building, plus building the new police station, all under one bond. But they've broken it down, what,
The payment.
for each.
That was
How-
at the beginning, did it
Yeah.
end up being that way in the end?
Well, I was-
65, 35.
I was gonna have Nate,
Audit.
Check that.
check the figures so that, because I know there were adds and minuses off that. The percentage might change just a little bit. And then I can on ball recalculate.
So what did they calculate the total payment to be?
It-
What is our
For
total
like
payment?
January payment for the police station would be $14,823. And for July, $36,903
Is what, John?
is your share, $36,903.
Oh, so they've got it broken down,
Because we make 2 payments a year,
How many?
2.
2 payments a year. So in 2016, oh no, we just made 1 payment, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why it went from 14,000 to 36,000?
Yeah, because that was only a half a year.
14,000.
It was just a few months. So is why that, yeah.
What was it? It was 14,000 what, Phyllis?
823, 22 cents too, if you want exact.
The 36,903 is going to be more of the
Would
average
be
of...
that times 2,
Take that times 2, and that's... about the
I think that
annual.
was in the claims tonight. that-
72,000 a year.
So again, the 36 is the closer, our payment would be twice a year.
Yeah. Well, she's got it for 2016,
It's got it all the way to...
all the way out to 2029. So for next year, 2016, there's going to be a payment from the police department of $38,286.15. Then the second payment in 2016 is going to be $37,907.06. To me, an amortization schedule, it should go down every time, but I don't quite understand why it goes up the next payment. I don't know.
Probably did.
Yeah, I don't think that, well, maybe it's because it's that partial year that somehow picked it.
So, out of the monies you receive for public safety, I guess, Phyllis, do you know how much money is estimated that we're getting from this increase in loan? And how much of that is for public safety? Do you know that?
The percentage.
Yeah, but that's,
Oh,
I mean, how much money are we getting from the county for the increase in Lowell? That's the question.
For just public safety is $424,000
So we're gonna get $424,000
this year.
just for public safety. What amount is,
That's all public safety.
it's all public safety, but how much total do we get from the county? That's it?
400,000.
For all of it.
Well, that's the total.
That's
The
the
half
total.
percent totals 424.
We don't get money to give towards tax relief.
Right, that 1/4%, we don't get a distribution. I think the 424 is the 1/4% increase that's attributable to public safety. That's what gets paid
That's
to
what we
us.
get distributed?
Right.
So that's the increase.
Okay.
So everything we get through Lowell, the increase.
The
has to go
increase.
Towards public safety.
Yes.
The 424,000 and
This
75
year.
of that per year
But where's that?
will be used towards
Amortization schedule you just had?
And 475 to the bond.
But you also...
Still gives you
well,
300-some thousand to work with. And it doesn't mean that money has to be spent every year. You can
No,
You can accumulate that.
You can accumulate.
Les can
So-
accumulate some money and buy
Correct.
a fire truck. Save it for 3 years and then buy a fire
It's
truck.
non-reverting.
yeah.
they have to appropriate how much money they want to spend
Exactly.
each year. It's
Right.
just like the police budget or the fire department budget. Lowell will have their
Yep.
own budget.
So if we have 76,000 that's coming, that's going to go to the bond, but we have 424, we got about $348,000.
Right.
Difference
So-
that we can,
And you could appropriate each year to the amortization schedule, I'm assuming. Automatically to be cover the bond.
Can we pay off the bond early?
No. You have to, under the terms of the
Question,
bond...
I like that.
No, under the terms of the bond, you're locked in for, I believe, almost all bond issues are for 10 years.
So the people can get
We have
their
to
investment.
Yeah,
It's to protect the bond
all
buyers.
of 10.
The
But
bond
at the
buyers.
10-year mark,
They
we
want to
want
get over.
If we want to, then I think we can. Yeah.
And the remaining, honestly, 10 years from now...
You're not going to have a lot left to pay. You're paying primarily
years, we could
principal.
Probably take off half of that and pay it
Right,
off.
right.
But for 10 years, yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
We can't disagree with that, that's...
Okay, so that we're talking about 318,000. So, Phyllis, what you're saying is for their budgets then in 2016, we need to know what capital improvements, be it equipment or stuff like that, trucks, cars. I mean, if you have cars in your budget, and normally, Greg, don't you, like, for example, have 3 cars a year in your budget? You have an idea how much they are this?
It'll be close to 90,000.
Okay,
That's what
so
I
you got
got,
90,000.
for each vehicle by the time the outfit them.
How are you on, or replacing Wilson? That process has started.
We have started that again, yeah, but it's already budgeted for that officer.
Is
So we're right on schedule as far as...
That money's already been appropriated, or will be in the budget for that, in the regular police budget.
So I guess, do either of you have a wish list, or that's where we're
I don't
at?
think it's a wish, it's
Well,
Need.
I think Greg and I, what
You've
we're
been-
looking for guidance-wise is are we going to, I have no problem with taking the police department, police station debt relief. Then are we going to accumulate, and Greg and I formulate a 5-year plan? One year
Yeah.
I spend more than
Or a
he,
percentage based
or
on the
are we going to look at taking out the debt service and then making it 50/50? He would accumulate.
what other items do you have in your budget? I mean, we can, you know, what items do you have in your budget for equipment or vehicles?
Using this for that.
Besides, you got police cars. Les, do you have anything in your 2016 budget that you haven't handed in, of course, that you want to buy?
Really,
Are we buying a big truck? Are we buying a grass truck you were talking
Grass
about?
truck, we put that in plan, but that wouldn't, if might be budgeted as we've done before, but it's never left in, it's always moved.
Now, one other thing you gotta remember is Les does have, and we just okayed that last year, I believe, is to non-reverting, which means the monies we receive from the townships for fire protection does not go to the general fund. It used to, years ago, go to the general fund. Now, we're putting it aside for less to buy big pieces of equipment, fire trucks, basically. That's what we're doing. So, I don't know how much that is every year, about 40,000 in that neighborhood. So it's 40,000 every year that's gone to less for fire equipment. And it could be, besides trucks, I mean, you got some other things, you got some
I think
air packs and whatever else, you know.
Ordinance, it might say trucks, but we could, that could be adjusted.
That could be
Are you
amended,
still using a lot of what you call like relief duty?
yeah.
Do you need another fireman
Yes.
versus the relief duty all the time?
Well,
How much would that cost?
90, 95, but it's not,
It's gonna cost you 90,000 a year, so if that's what you want to do.
I figure my hard cost, but I would...
Greg probably could use the same thing, he's gonna ask the same thing. You've just used it all up.
How much are you
There's nothing
paying for
left.
the,
Or
A new officer.
the sub or whatever you want to
That's
call
what
it?
you're proposing, that's what Les just proposed. You're gonna say the same thing.
it's about, it's 12,500 set aside for...
And again, is it manpower or equipment? Then that might change year to
Well, when
year.
you're talking one, yeah, you're probably, it affects everything. I mean, in one way, shape, or form. You have the cost for equipment for that person. But I also, like, looking at my 5-year capital improvement needs, those are strictly estimates, but like,
I should have brought that. I apologize, Greg, because you guys sat down with Christy Sturts and we all went through that and we had a plan and I need to get that to you guys. I really do.
But the opportunity, just like, I'm just thinking of one thing here, of replacing our handheld radios at this time, and you're looking at like about $62,000.
You do that all at one time?
Well, under the 5-year plan, we could do that over time. However, it's presented itself from Motorola, who we would get the radios from, would be that they have a deal going right now that they give us 33% off of the cost of the radios, plus they'll give us $250 on any type of radio that we want to trade in.
Well, I think you need to tell us dollar amounts. You know, that's fine, these percentages, but I think we say, okay, you got $424,000 in Lowit money. Okay, you're going to use $76,000 to pay the bonds. You're going to use $90,000 to pay for police cars. What else? You know, are you saying $62,000 for these radios?
If you did it all in one chunk.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Do you have the same request for radios? That's in yours?
Probably not this year.
Okay, so that's something for next year then.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a grass truck would be the next, probably the main priority.
Can you use two funds? Otherwise, can you use part of the Lowit funds? Let's say next year you have $100,000 in Lowit money that you can buy this grass truck that you're talking about. Can you take the $100,000 and combine it with $60,000 that you get from your non-reverting fire fund? So you got $160,000. You can do that, can you?
What's a grass truck cost?
Probably 200 plus to go with a real.
What's a grass truck?
Explain the grass truck, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Melissa?
small engine. I think that was one of the things that kind of surfaced in the...
Wasn't that at one time a pickup truck?
Yeah.
It was
and,
kind
you
of
know,
has...
It just doesn't... With the 35-acre annexation of like the wetlands now, really wetlands now, you know, eventually, like, you know, that's going to be developed with a trail system, and we have no way to get back into that.
Okay, so it's a truck that would go out into a
Four-wheel
four-wheeler.
drive, it carries a lot less water, more fire.
Jim wants to chime in.
Another thing to add to that, we lost our 6x6, and the tanker, our new tanker that people were driving. If we don't get that off the road, then it's very well, we don't get any off.
So you're missing that 6x6 is what you're saying?
No, we're not.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get on. I was going to get on you. You want to get rid of an Army truck forever, and now you're complaining because it's
No,
gone.
we're not missing that at all.
See, there's a truck there that was off the road too, and now we're down to just a grass, or we want to beat that up, that's what we're grass.
Yeah, at one time when you got the first grass truck, it was basically a pickup truck, wasn't
And it is.
A 3/4 ton pickup truck with a kind of a spray bar on the back.
It's cost $200,000.
To get one that would have some cabinetry and actually be able to actually haul some, right now we're trying to use 2 vehicles, and like we've had 6 water assists today, cars in water. Well, now we sometimes have to run 2 vehicles because we can't put all the equipment that we need for water rescue, all these little specialty things. We're running 2 vehicles because we have no cabinetry on this pickup. It's just a pickup truck with a skid unit.
Quite honestly, frankly, you put police or fire on whatever equipment you're buying, and the price just kind of went up. It just seems like specialty equipment just...
Really looking at going from like an F350 to a F550, which would be,
Then a 1 ton?
it's bigger than
A 1 ton? The 350 is a 1 ton?
Yeah.
Do we need to go bigger than a 1 ton? Do we?
I mean, but like for myself, to sit here in front of you right now until we've got guidance on below it, I have my 5-year plan, but that could change due to how you're going to do this.
When is Christy, is she nearing the point where she's ready to make a
At the police department, so we can...
I would think that she would be.
report?
No, John.
It is kind of dinky.
Yeah, she's trying to get our Stellar in line. That's the high priority, but I'd say by the middle of July, she will have that.
Okay.
Well, these guys are asking for some guidance, so Phyllis will get off their rear end about getting their budgets down. So it's worth their budget so she can move forward.
I haven't said anything.
Well, I say accordingly.
Well, in one thing we sort of have to watch is that if I moved like air packs or some large ticket out of the budget and into Lowit, the township's payment is always based on my prior year. So the payment in 16 will be based on 15's budget, and if we reduce the fire budget, then the townships
Don't pay.
Well, why wouldn't you simply amend the formula to include the Lowit budget?
Well, I mean, that's what would have to...
Yeah,
have
to avoid that reduction.
Yeah. I think townships are getting a good deal from the city. I mean, we should not lower their contract by any
They're getting a
means.
very good deal.
Yeah. For them to go out and do what we do, they could not afford it.
Yeah.
So what you guys are asking is, you have capital needs for the upcoming year. Do you put it in your operating budget, or do you count on Lowit funds to fund that? Is that right? So, council probably needs to say, we got this much money, we're going to dedicate so much to the debt service on the police station, if that's your intent. And then you tell them how much money they're going to have to work with to cover their capital needs that needs to be funded through Lowit as opposed to the operating budget. And if it's the entire amount, then they have the freedom to do that.
We can't use it for anything else.
I know, but you can
But we can-
stockpile it, you can...
Yeah, you can
bank
accumulate
part
it
of
for next year, like, let's
So that
say
we save $100,000 a year.
Let's say that,
Or-
I don't know when the next major piece of fire equipment's going to be needed,
Right
but,
now, it's in our
2018.
year,
and how much are you talking about?
700,000.
Okay,
What truck is this?
That'd be our thought of replacing an engine and an over rescue and combine them into one truck. We'll actually eliminate one vehicle combined into one
So do you want to start
engine rescue.
anticipating that expenditure?
in theory, if we pay the debt service, we bank $100,000, and the remainder,
Split.
250, goes to public safety. And they use that for their capital project. Right. What happens so that means that their budgeted number goes down?
Yeah. Because it's not going to be in your operating budget. What that then does is that
another budget just for a
you're going to have a Lowit budget that spells that out.
I think the city would have one, which would combine your two
And then what
departments.
happened, the practical impact of that is that you're relying less on your general operating funds to fund some of these expenditures, and that frees that money up to be used elsewhere as needed.
Would this work similar to, when I first started as chief, Phyllis explained like 444 to me as being
444 means
a
nothing.
444 account.
What, machine?
Machinery and
maintenance.
that, in my budgeting process, save that for those items that would have a value of, what, 20,000 or 10,000 or more or something.
Yeah.
I guess I would kind of envision it as being similar to when we paid for fire trucks out of CZI. But it would only be competition between Greg and I, that we would have to, these two departments would have to, we're going to arm wrestle for it.
Not good.
That these two departments, instead of trying to share it with street and others, it would basically be the police and fire working together to make a plan.
And to be fair, on my side, dealing with Jeremy in the street department, I have a match from the NVH fund also that I can use every year, as long as he okays it.
Yes. I think, is it fire, he's got some money in the 2015 budget? Jeremy is giving you guys? No?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it police?
I don't-
Is it police?
It's only for police,
Yeah, I don't get it.
MVH.
You're not going to get that this year, he told me.
I don't get any.
I've already been using some of it.
He's already using it this year.
Okay, well, I think that's over.
It was
then.
appropriated.
That's what he told me today.
It's council's decision whether you want to use that 10% towards that, but it is
How much
allowed.
is it, Greg, you know?
10%.
43,000?
It's about 30,000, isn't it?
I thought it was 43.
Right, it was 24,980.
That's, okay, I think that's the number
It's
you used,
whatever the
25,000.
And we're down to
distribution
that,
does, they get
Yeah.
10%.
our last check was down to 19 something.
Okay. Well, I don't think you're getting the rest of that.
We have lots of
This is what he
streets
told
too.
you. Get with Jeremy on that. That's already been approved by council, so we can get into that later.
But let me ask, Les, assuming that we're going to be flush with cash for, I mean, first of all, do we have any, it's possible, well, I guess two things. Lowit can fluctuate.
It will fluctuate.
Based on
It will, based on the
the...
economy.
Yeah.
Second, I mean, is it the concept that when the debt service is paid off at the county level, that Lowit is going to go away?
Doubtful.
No.
I would be highly
Still find a new project.
Okay. So with that assumption that this is going to be around for quite a while, do we have a need to continue to have the non-reverting fire fund? If
Yeah.
And I expected that answer.
well,
But I think you really, whoever's on council, when we're talking 5-10 years down the road, you have to understand that non-reverting fund plus the Lowit, you can combine the two to get what you need. You know, you can keep doing it.
Well, I mean, I think, to be fair, that you're going to be creating this fund, and it's not like we're asking for a blank check here for just...
It has to be approved, yeah.
Correct. So even funding this from year to year, whether it's reserves or whatever the case may is, I think looking down to the future without getting specific about it, it's to improve the needs of the city, which could be wide-ranging. Now, I realize they focused it on public service, and it's kind of a shame that it couldn't have been wider than that, but...
But the other thing is, Greg and Les both sat down with Christy Sturz, who was doing our capital improvement plan, and they have a 5-year plan. I think that's where I messed up. I should have got you guys a copy of that plan.
It was
do.
great. Well, but...
Yeah, but it gives you an idea of what they're going to spend this year, next year, over the next 5 years. Really. So that's what we need to do, is get you that.
And I guess, had we known, I looked at what I was going to budget, and should have been looking at what I was going to expend Lowit.
Well, it shouldn't make any difference.
Well-
You're doing this for what you need.
But we in my case, I've stretched my needs versus, I mean, it would benefit us better if I had it now versus stretching it out, because we weren't dealing
Well,
with
the way I looked at it is you're going to pay off the police department portion of the bond. You're going to pay for police cars this year. I'd take that out of the Lowit.
40 years.
You got radios, 62,000, take it out of the Lowit.
70-year-old.
Well, Les hasn't told me what he needs this year.
He needs someone.
Yeah.
But my radios are also...
Someone that can do it, you need someone.
5 years, yeah, so...
So you do it all at one time?
But it's not going to be
You
set
quit
this
paying
year. This is for 2016.
Temp.
Right, that's correct, 2016 budget.
What, so we don't have anything this year?
15, we can...
What do you have in your
have
budget?
to get it has to be additional appropriation if you want to spend the money this year, because there is no budget for it. So you will have to do an additional appropriation, we'll have to advertise, the council has to approve the resolution.
What do you have in your budget, Les, for
That's why we're
equipment?
not spending it.
What do you have in your budget for equipment, or your plan for 2016? Do you have any idea?
Yes, air packs for the aerial, and if the funding was there, is to do 4 more. 'Cause we,
Okay, so you need 6 air packs. How much total dollars?
8 air packs,
How-
about 62,000.
You have that in your budget now?
I will have 4 of them in there now, but if
Okay.
I could pick up 8,
You take it out
John,
of
I'm
your...
breaking this cycle of, we got a grant for radios. Well, now
Now they're all going to go
All
old
of them
at
are
the same time.
and we need to get out of that habit of,
So, the way what you've told me so far is we have 424,000, you spent 76,000, you spent 90,000, you spent 62,000 and then Les just spent $62,000 our past, you're down to $104,000. Low. I think you bank that myself, and
Yeah, I
Save up for that $700,000.
I'd like to see us, we set a goal in an account, whether it be $500,000 or $1 million, and that while we know we have it, while the numbers are good, we try to bank that as fast as we can. That has less of an impact on their general funding for the budget. But eventually, I look at, the money that is non-reverting for the fire, the MVH money. I mean, to me, eventually we could wean that off and bring that back in if we know we have the reserves available for a major expense, and it doesn't change. I mean, there's still, even with that, even if you took those two things away, your budget's going to be way more than they are now.
What I would like to see is some benchmarks that if it's less than a certain amount of money, it stays in the general fund.
Yeah.
But what this does, it allows us then, instead of buying a fire truck from the CCD fund, or the CCI fund, or the seeded fund, then we can use that money for other projects.
Economic
We save all that
development
money, you know?
initiatives, not fire trucks.
Know what I'm saying?
Like buying fire hoses.
Yeah, but
buying fire
what I
hoses
worry
and
about
things.
is just like Les said, I don't want it to get to be a competitive thing. It's like,
No.
although we can work together.
I think council's gonna have to come over.
Ultimately, you guys are going to make the proposals, councils are going to determine then what are the most pressing needs. And if they've got X number of dollars to work with, then they're going to make a determination of which one's going to get funded this year and which one's going to wait till the following year.
So it is going to, eventually, it won't be Greg and I, but it's going to be the fire chief and police chief sitting down and strategizing.
Exactly.
Best thing would be for you guys to coordinate it and make that proposal to
So
the
if
council.
we could
But
actually
if-
come in with more expenditures than what is low, and then council's going to have to, like we do with CCI, you're going to get a garbage truck this year, you're not going to get a fire truck, so to speak. Is that
Yeah.
how we see this?
Basically, yeah.
And then paring it down to what our actual number, expendable number is.
And
But I'd like to see some benchmarks that 50,000 or
I'd say 25,000 or more has to,
stays in the general, and if it's 25
or more than goes into the lower, paid down
of
lower.
a single item or a
But that's gonna
combination
be-
of, or how do we?
That's going to be presented annually, you know what I mean?
It will, it's just with any other budget.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
another additional budget for
Right.
review.
Yeah, and I think another parameter perhaps that should be considered would be, are you talking about one-time expenditures as opposed to annual expenditures?
Right.
I really think that you probably should utilize these funds for
Matt brought up.
year-to-year one-time expenditures as opposed to ongoing expenses such as personnel, which
didn't want to use that.
Personnel would,
that's up to you guys,
I would-
but
I would
Personnel should be in your regular budget.
personally, I think you'd be better off, because you don't know whether that funding is going to fluctuate significantly from one year to the next.
Big equipment purchases
I
should
think
come out
you
of
need
that.
to save some of this too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would say at least 100,000.
So, you're saying 62,000 for 8 air packs in 2016, is that what you said?
And
you-
I wouldn't budget those.
Those in your
Budget.
general budget, that goes in the Lowett budget, right? Okay. Do we give you enough guidance? I don't mean to rush through this, but we're approaching 7:30.
Well, because we really need to get the 16 budget done and even a low budget, and then,
But I have an
but the
opportunity.
15 funds, we could bring proposals to council.
Right, because we do have some 15 funds that we have not addressed at all.
But you are going
But in order to do that, like Phil said, then you'd have to go through the process of actually doing an additional appropriation,
Reappropriation.
because you don't have any 2015 budget.
So Greg's going to have to do an additional appropriation for the
For
debt
the
service.
parking
this year.
lot.
It's already budgeted to come out. of
Like if I want to
Riverboat
appropriate for the
and
radios, then I would.
Yeah, it's not coming out of Lowett.
It's not coming out.
If you're saying that, Greg, if you want to buy the radios this year,
It's already budgeted.
the only way you're going to be able to use Lowett funds this year is to go through an additional appropriation in order to have those funds available.
What we could save in 2015. That starts our savings account right there. Okay. Hey, you guys, I would just recommend you get your budgets together, and if you want to sit down with Phyllis and I, and then we come back and tell council what we're going to propose. Is that all right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
definitely, I'd consider some benchmarks of
Yeah.
what goes in and what goes out.
Gotcha. Thanks, guys. You did good. You did good. You want? Oh, you're going back? Thank you. Yeah, Les is on the, what do you call that? Emergency response?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of response. Where's Sean? He's fishing up in Canada. Thanks.
Who's Bill?
Yeah, Bill's leaving tomorrow.
You want a motion?
Yeah, please.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Kill the guy in the camera.
Motion to adjourn.
No. Might be a car tagged.
Well, let's see what you invite Tyler's wife in, and we're going to do that. That'll be our first thing here.
Nice to know him.
Bill? Good job, Bill.